Good morning, gentlemen. Happy Saturday, happy leg day to you all out there. Yeah, I'm wearing long sleeves in Florida. We got a little cold front and I am enjoying every minute of it. But happy Saturday once again. So today I wanted to put a video up on why do we raise our fat levels during high carb day. And not necessarily why, but why do we raise it to the level that we do? And it's all about trying to really maintain that caloric intake by lessening our carbs. Okay, we're getting rid of the glycogen storage in our bodies, and we need to still maintain our body and the nutrients it needs, and one way to do that is by raising the fat level. So I'll explain why we raise the fat level in a minute, but we can get a lot out of fat compared to the other macros. So I'm going to write what my regular macro day looks like so we can show you the difference of a regular macro day and what a low carb day looks like. So my regular macro day looks like this: 303 grams of carbohydrates, 81 grams of fat, and 121 grams of protein. Okay? That's my regular macro day. Now, when you equal this out into what my caloric intake is, it's 2420. 2420 calories for my regular macro day. Now, let's look at this from a mathematical standpoint. I know some of you like to dig a little bit further. So, how do these macros equal up into a overall calorie intake for the day? So, what you need to understand, and I try to explain this on some of your posts. 1 gram of carb equals 4 calories. 1 gram of carb equals 4 calories. 1 gram of fat equals 9 calories. Right there, you're already doubling with 1 gram over. It's twice as much as a carb, over twice as much as a carb, and then again, 1 gram of protein equals 4 calories. So if you take your overall macro gram for the day and you just times it by these numbers, 4 for carbs, 9 for fat, 4 for protein, you're gonna get your caloric intake for the day. So that's why we say we're not necessarily counting calories, but your macrograms are directly associated with a calorie intake. So that's why we can look at your calorie intake for the day, or if you just send a macro pie chart, I can very easily calculate your calorie for the day and notice that, man, you're at 1,500 calories. You need to up by 1,000 or something of that nature. So anyway, I'm a little bit over 6 foot, 193 pounds. I have my MyFitnessPal set to 1 pound of fat loss or weight loss. 1 pound of loss per week, and I'm in an active profile, okay? That's what it looks like. So let's calculate now what low carb looks like. So again, we're going to lose 203 grams of carbs to bring it down to 100 grams of carbohydrate for the day, okay? That's where we're at. So we're missing 203. Now, if you do that calculation, I don't want to get too mathematical here, but if you do that calculation of what we're missing already, we're minus 812 calories just by decreasing my intake of a regular macro day to a low carb day. Okay, so I'm already missing 812 calories just by taking my regular down to low carb. Okay, I'm going to keep fat blank for now. We know we want to maintain that protein as a constant, right? We want to maintain protein. This is our constant macro during the week. So we already know we have 121 grams of protein. Okay, so now if you look at these two together, we have 100 grams of carb, 121 grams of protein. Guys, if you add these two together, you times this by 4, that's 400. You time this by 4, that's, 484? Something like that. So between these two, we only have 884 calories. And when you look at where we need to be in that range of 2420, we've got to make up that difference. So what I like to do very easily is I take my regular macro intake calorie, subtract what my low carb and my protein calories equal for low carb day, and that gives me 1536. So I've got to make up 1500 calories basically with my fats, okay? Knowing that we want to keep carbs under 100, knowing that we want to keep protein constant, where else can we make it up? Again, remember, we can make up a lot of ground with fat because of the calorie. It's 1 gram equals 9 calories. So less fat actually equals more in the end because of the calorie intake. So I mean more fat. So again, we have to make up 1536 calories. So just divide 1536 by 9. What does that equal? Right around 170. So if I put 170 grams of fat in here, this is my target for my low carb day. Okay? This is how we're trying to explain. If we bring your carbs down to 100, we're already missing out on these calories. If we keep protein the same, we know what we're getting out of protein always because it's our constant. Where do we make up the ground? We make it up in good fats. So on my low carb day, I have to intake, or my goal is 170. That's going to put me not exactly at 2420, but right in that range where I need to be. So again, I didn't want to get too complicated in this, but when you're looking at why we need to really increase our fat intake, thinking that we're already losing a lot in our carbs, we want to keep protein constant, we got to make it up into fat, good fat. And so hopefully this explanation works for you, and it'll explain why a little bit more when I say, hey, you got to bring up the fats, man. Your intake is only at 1400 calories. This is where you're missing. You're missing these 812 calories, and you're still hitting your regular macro goal, right? You're still hitting that regular macro goal, which is going to put you in a huge caloric deficit. And if you're in too much of a caloric deficit all the time, your body's not going to recover. It's not going to grow. So hopefully that's a good tip for Saturday. I'll be posting more throughout leg day when I get to it. But just wanted to explain this because this seems to be something that people aren't understanding or seem to continue to have questions on. Hopefully that helps. Have a great rest of your Saturday.